One.
Oh, okay. Good night, everybody. Welcome to the UnCaged Voice podcast on a special nightly podcast. I am tonight's special guest host, Jigsaw Jester, and I am joined tonight by Mr. Donnie Cage himself. How you doing tonight, Don?
Thank you for the intro, Jester. I'm doing great.
Ooh, we got some fun topics to talk about tonight.
Fun's one word to describe them.
I mean, if you are into that kind of dark thing.
Yeah, I like to keep things light normally. I like to keep topics fun, interesting, but now and then you got to dive into some topics that are a little difficult to talk about. And I have to say, Jester, I didn't know a whole lot about this whole Quiet on Set documentary until you told me. Top tier rated, who is not here to join us tonight, but we miss him and hope he'll be back soon. But I watched a little bit of this Quiet on Set documentary, and holy shit, dude, I just don't know what to say about it.
It's very telling to see how these people get in power and what they do with it. It's kind of haunting because you look at the people it's affected. Dan Schneider alone. Dan Schneider got his start. Well, first of all, let's talk about Quiet on Set, period. Quiet on Set is this documentary that debuted on Max. And it details pretty much the dark behind the scenes environment of Nickelodeon. And oh my god, certain things that have been ranging since all that was on air to recent ones like Sam and Cat. Or at least that's as far reaching as I know it goes. And it seems like everybody from those anybody within those cast sets have a story. You know what I'm saying? The most telling one, or the one that hits a lot of people, is Drake Bell's story. And I think I was telling you about it off air.
Yeah, and I mean, his story involves like a dialogue coach and I think another production assistant, if I remember correctly. Their names are not people I'm familiar with, but I mean, he, like most child stars who have gone through some type of abuse, are obviously hesitant to talk about it personally, and who wouldn't be? But
Mm-hmm.
I think it's really important that people like Drake Bell came forward and made the public aware of the abuse that they suffered all these years, because how are people going to take steps to prevent it from happening again if the public doesn't know about it?
A lot of the time it's like, do they want to prevent it? Like you were talking about Drake Bell. Drake Bell's abuser, Brian Peck, served 16 months in prison, but due to 41 character letters that were written by several actors within Hollywood. Certain names that are James Marsden, certain names that are Ryder Strong, Will Friedle. It is it's very eerie, to say the least.
Yeah, it's almost like one of those. It almost is like they're saying, "Well, this never happened to me in my experience with Brian Peck, so I find it hard to believe that it would happen to somebody else."
Yeah, that's the aura it's giving, and it's unfortunate because a lot of the time they tell you to separate the art from the artist because and another saying, you shouldn't look up to your heroes. Like you shouldn't, or excuse me, don't meet your heroes. Because a lot of the time behind the scenes, they are doing a lot of shady crap.
I don't have to. I don't have to even go into the R. Kelly story and all of the abuse that different female performers suffered at his hands. I mean, he basically groomed back in the '90s. He basically groomed a young Aaliyah when she was only 15 years old.
Oh
Briefly,
yeah,
they were briefly married, legally married. Fortunately, she had enough sense to get away from him, break off all ties, and I mean, obviously she died tragically in the plane accident, but at least she had enough sense to get away from the toxicity that R. Kelly possessed and forge her own career.
absolutely. With Aaliyah, I feel her parents failed her more than anything. And that begs a bigger question. What are the parents doing? Are they looking for like the money itself? Is the money worth sacrificing your child to these predators? In all honesty, because if so, why have children in the first place? Because it should be instilled to you when you are a parent to protect and love and nurture your children, not feed them to the wolves.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I mean, then you had other actors on different Nickelodeon shows, like some of the young, black actors who were part of it, and they were subjected to like a different type of abuse. Like it wasn't specifically that they were sexually harassed; they were just harassed in other ways. I forget the actor's name. You have to remind me, Jester, but he was really young when he was working on Nickelodeon, and at one point they had him cover his body in peanut butter so that a bunch of dogs could lick the peanut butter off of him. And I'm like, what exactly is funny about this?
I believe that was Leon.
Leon. Yeah,
I think, yeah, because he was talking about how they had him in a skin tight leotard and it made him like really conscious of his body, like self conscious of his body. And then they put him in the Noseboy outfit, which if you haven't seen Noseboy, I'll give anybody right now the time to go ahead and Google Noseboy's costume from all that and tell me it looks appropriate for a child to be wearing. And he sneezes, and usually when well, I'm not gonna say usually, but a couple of times he has sneezed on women, and him wearing those things on his shoulders, sneezing on women with snot, quote unquote, landing on their faces, it looks kind of questionable, to say the least.
yeah. And I mean,
It's a lot to take in. I know.
yeah,
It's insane. What was it? Katrina. I don't know if you remember her. She was mainly on like the first few seasons of all that, but she was like the Amanda Bynes before Amanda Bynes.
right.
Uh, she was going through puberty, and they had called her and told her. I think they called and spoke to her mother and said that she's getting fat. We already have a fat one. We don't need her being fat. So body shaming two women in one go because Lori Beth Denberg's vital information still is amazing to me. I can look back on it when I'm in my 30s now and still get a chuckle out of it. For you to just like denigrate her to just her weight being the fat one, I find that kind of problematic.
Yeah, absolutely. Body shaming is nothing new. I mean, in Hollywood in general, it's not just limited
Mhm.
obviously to minors, but especially when you see it happen, young, like you said, are just going through puberty, and their body
Yeah.
changes. It's a natural part of life, and it's like, oh, we're just gonna damn them because they gained a few pounds. It's like, no, this is wrong.
Mm. And it gets even worse than that because apparently she was going to get her own show. But then they bring in Amanda and they slowly start phasing out Katrina. And who ends up with the show? Amanda ends up with the show.
Yeah.
It's God, it's a lot, man. Dan Schneider is actually I will say this. He has issued a PR apology. And I call it a PR apology because that's exactly what it is. It's a PR apology. He got the guy that played Boogie or Tebow on iCarly to interview, like, host him with some softball behind questions. It was rough. Like, you could tell this was just purely PR.
Yeah.
If I made anybody feel uncomfortable, I am sorry. It's yeah.
This goes way way past making somebody uncomfortable. Like if you make an off-color joke or something every now and then, or maybe like you show people let's say you play a song or something for them that maybe has like some sexually provocative lyrics in it, thinking that people are just going to laugh at it, and some people are offended. All right, well that's okay. I'm sorry, I offended some people. I didn't mean to do that. That's a genuine accident right there. But yeah, to do all that he did and Brian Peck did, all these different young actors, is just shameful. In fact, shameful is not even the word. In fact, you could look up any of these people in the dictionary. Look up the word feces, and you will see it is a synonym for their names.
Hmm. Absolutely. It's it's very depressing because you grew up on a lot of these shows, and it's hard to go back and watch them knowing what you know now. But I I feel as though we've talked enough about this subject because I'm getting depressed thinking about it. For
Yeah,
those who want to know more about it, Quiet Onset is the docuseries on HBO Max. I highly recommend you watch it because, or if you want to keep your innocence, don't watch it. But I really think everybody should watch it and hear these stories. Um, but let's move on to business. I guess you want to talk about for a
yeah.
second.
Well, some topic that's just gonna like wash the taste out of our mouth a little bit.
That's
um,
fine.
in our last episode, we were touching base on TikTok a little bit and how they're trying to get it banned right now. At least Congress is
Right.
trying. And I read an interesting article this week because apparently now you've watched Shark Tank, right, Jester?
Yes.
Okay. So one of the stars of Shark Tank, Kevin O'Leary, who's a very prominent Canadian businessman, been so for many years. Allegedly, he is considering buying TikTok. Now, mind you, this rumor, also what's attached to this rumor is this idea that he's going to buy it for an incredibly discounted rate compared to what it's allegedly worth.
Yeah.
Um, so I just want to get your thoughts on this, Jester. I thought this was a really interesting article, and I know you have an opinion on Kevin O'Leary.
Kevin O'Leary is a. You know what? I went to church today, so I'm not gonna say it. Kevin O'Leary is a very greedy individual. Um, and he says a lot of things, and I don't necessarily believe he fulfills on certain things. So when he says he's going to buy a company, or excuse me, an app where the company is not even going to sell, it is high. I doubt very seriously they are going to sell because TikTok's US market is 10% of what they actually got. TikTok is global. It is not just specific to the US. So it being banned in the US is not going to be any money out of their pocket. They can afford to be lost in the US. So for Kevin O'Leary to just be like, I'll buy it, seems very strange to me. And it's like, it screams, watch the new season of Shark Tank to me.
That's actually something I need to do. And you know what? It would be a genius PR strategy for him to get more people to watch the show. Um,
Yeah, I mean,
but
it's brilliant to me, but Kevin O'Leary he's
yeah,
known for saying a lot of weird, like not weird, but like let's say extravagant things, especially when he's on television and you give him a microphone. I mean, let's look at his arguments with Mark Cuban.
yeah. And I mean, honestly, if you think about this, like, let's just hypothetically say Kevin O'Leary buys TikTok.
Okay.
To me, it would be the equivalent to Elon Musk buying Twitter and deciding I'm gonna rebrand it as X.
Oh dear God.
Which, first of all, I think I've said this before that was probably the dumbest rebranding I've ever seen in the history of a company.
What does it
Um,
mean?
in fact, it was such a dumb rebranding. I mean, I barely used Twitter to begin with, so after a couple of months, I just decided I'm just going to cancel my not cancel my membership, but I'm just going to deactivate my profile because I don't even use it. This whole rebranding is lame, and I don't know what they would rename TikTok. I mean, maybe they'll rename TikTok Toe or something.
Oh God, please don't Senate, House of Representatives it, please. No.
TikTok. We're gonna call it Tacto.
Tic tac toe. Make TikTok a tic tac. God, my face still hurts. Okay. Cute. Uh. All right. Uh, but um, if you are ready to move on to the next topic,
Yes,
because
I think we've covered this enough. You know, I think we
it's
both.
strange because I'm so used to having B here to just bounce stuff off of too, and I'm just waiting for him to say something too, and it's just like that weird gap.
Oh no, his response would be, "Listen, I really don't care. I don't use TikTok that. I just don't care."
He's gonna pick things up and put them down. Be lifting.
Well,
But all
like I
right.
said, I'm still eager to see what the end result of this story is going to be. Though I'm just like dying to see what's going to happen.
Yeah, I'm hoping that they come to their senses and realize that this app is very helpful to the common United States citizen
Yeah,
and would not try to line their pockets even more than what they already have them lined. But then again, you already know how that story goes. So,
exactly. But I mean, look, TikTok and various other social media platforms, they've been big for lots of other forms of media. They've been big for TV shows, big for movies, particularly all the superhero movies because they're everywhere. And Marvel, despite all the mistakes that they've made in recent years, they're still making a ton of money every single year. Let's not kid ourselves. But
mm,
but for all their success, they have still made a lot of creative blunders over the years. And comicbookmovie.com put out an article. I shared it with you in top tier rating, and it was the
yes.
MCU creative blunders that we still haven't forgiven Marvel Studios for.
Yeah, and it's gonna be kind of hard too for a lot of these.
I
Well,
mean
not,
the
not a
proof
lot.
is in the pudding. The proof is in the pudding.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say that, but certain ones you're just like, okay, that was really stupid. Um, which one was first on the list? Do you remember?
We'll start with number 8. Now, this one, I will openly say I totally disagree with comic book movie on this one. So, number 8, the number 8 creative blunder was Ant-Man and the Wasp weren't founding members of the Avengers.
Mm.
So, as a comic book fan, I understand where they're coming from with this. However, I have to respectfully say that if you have no knowledge of the characters of Ant-Man and the Wasp, you have no history in the with these characters. How are you going to sell to an average audience? Here's all these cool characters that are part of the Avengers. You've got Captain America, you got the Hulk, you got Iron Man, you got Thor, and then you've got Ant-Man and the Wasp.
You've got gods, monsters, super soldiers, and assassins. Here are these people that grow and shrink. The only thing that Hank Pym, to me, I mean, I could be wrong. That's why I don't really read his comics. He doesn't interest me. What it is that he has done has created Ultron
That's right.
and hit his wife.
Pym created Ultron, not Tony Stark.
Yes, and hit his wife. Those are the only two things he has done that
Yeah.
make me that stand out to me when you mention Hank Pym. That's about it.
And it's funny because I feel like the MCU was accurate portrayal of Hank in season 1 of What If, the episode Ant-Man like kills all the different Avengers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't mind him. I think the casting choice was really good too.
Oh yeah, Michael Douglas.
For both of them.
Eric.
Michael Douglas and God,
Michelle Pfeiffer.
Michelle Pfeiffer. Thank you. Yeah, they were really. I don't mind them. But I think they were trying to go with more of the Ultimate Universe
Yeah.
because including the Incredible Hulk, because I think the original team was Thor, Captain America, Iron Man, and Ant-Man, I believe.
Actually,
I could be wrong.
fun fact, in the earliest comics, Cap was not an original member.
The earliest one? Okay.
The earliest ones, yeah.
Mm.
But he was an original member in the Ultimates though, so that's kind of
Okay.
so
Yeah, I get him crossed. Mm.
yeah. But no, everybody's got mixed opinions on that, I'm sure. But that's just
By the way, yes, these are just our opinions. If you love the way, if you hate the way Ant-Man is portrayed, too cool. We are just, these are our opinions.
the next one had to do with where they said Marvel dropped the ball with adapting Planet Hulk, which, you know, for those of you who read who read the comics, there was a storyline they did a number of years ago where the group called the Illuminati, who made an appearance in Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. The Illuminati actually ships the Hulk basically off of planet Earth. Like they send him into space because he's too dangerous, he's too powerful, he's too uncontrollable. And he crash lands on this planet called Sakaar. And he actually becomes a slave and fights in gladiator games and everything. And eventually he overthrows the corrupt leader of that planet and everything. And I mean, that could have made for an interesting storyline, but obviously they do make references to it in Thor Ragnarok. And you know, I don't want to go so far as to say that this upset me that they didn't adapt Planet Hulk. I mean, I'm still hoping one day we'll get an adaptation of World War Hulk.
I would love to see World Breaker Hulk. I would love to see it because yeah, for me it's more I'm a little bummed about it, but it doesn't really do anything for me. Like I would have loved to see Planet Hulk adapted, but then where would you go from there? Because after that, that's where you get into World War Hulk. And him coming back would not really make sense if like they didn't really flesh it out enough for it to make sense. If you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So I get it. It would have been a very good, honest to God, cash grab from me because I would have just thrown my money at the screen if I just seen like the credits, Planet Hulk flash across the screen. I would have just thrown money at the screen. But, eh, it's not super damaging to the MCU. It is a missed opportunity though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no question about it. Next one, absolutely 100% agree with this, which is that they released Black Widow at the wrong time.
That should have been a phase 2 or 3 movie.
Absolutely, yeah. Because first of all, I mean, the issue wasn't the fact that they set it between Civil War and Avengers Infinity War. That actually could have worked if it came out before Avengers Infinity War. It came out after Avengers Endgame. We're sitting there in the theater or at home, wherever you're watching the movie, and you watch Black Widow eventually perish in Avengers Endgame, and it's like, oh, the Black Widow movie is set before Infinity War. We already know she's not gonna die. So where are the stakes?
Mm, there aren't any. I love ScoJo as much as the next person, but that movie was not needed at all, unless you were gonna put it in an earlier phase. Matter of fact, you could have set it even earlier than Civil War, or actually, you had an idea. You could have elaborated on how she met, or was it you that told me that, or was it in the article to
They said
elaborate
in
on?
the article, yeah, they could have shown how she met Clint Barton for the first time.
Yeah, that would have been perfectly fine too.
Mm-hmm.
Just had it said earlier. What was that mission they keep referencing?
Budapest.
Budapest. Yep. Would have been nice to see that on screen, but
Yeah,
yet another missed opportunity.
100%. And not to mention the fact that I'm sorry, they did my boy Taskmaster very dirty in that movie.
That was not Tony Masters. I don't know what they're doing.
Yeah,
Oh,
and can I just say that they could have easily fixed that by not making Taskmaster Dracov's daughter? Taskmaster should have just been the guy that was helping Natasha out throughout the movie. Rick Mason. Rick Mason could have easily just been an alias that Tony Masters was using. And you find out in the final act of the movie, he's been playing her the entire time.
mm-hmm. Anything would have been better than that. Anything. I
And
don't care. You could have had him just like cut through the screen and be like, haha, it's me, Taskmaster. I would have taken that over this.
yes, and correct me if I'm wrong. One of the trailers explicitly wasn't there a line from where she specifically says his call sign is Taskmaster. He controls the Red Room. He controls the Red Room.
Huh? Okay. Yeah.
From Black Widow, one of the trailers explicitly says that Taskmaster is a male.
Mm,
So that's false advertising.
oh yeah, I'm demanding my money back. Class action on Disney. Get them.
All right, moving on. All right, number 5. We were talking a little bit about this before the podcast, Jester. The way in which Marvel has portrayed the Kree Skrull War.
um, I am kind of familiar with the scroll in the or yeah, the scrolls in the Kree. Kinda, not too familiar with them. I know the scrolls shapeshift due to that's what they were doing as Secret Invasion, which kind of doesn't make too much sense because they got painted as refugees. So why are they trying to take? I don't know. Whatever. I really didn't even finish Secret Invasion. I'm not gonna lie. So I don't really have any room to complain.
Yeah, I mean, the thing was, one of the things I worried at the very beginning when they eventually said, "Well, we're going to introduce Skrulls into the Marvel universe," and I say, "Oh, great, we're going to have that. They're going to use it as like a Deus ex machina for a lot of films when people go, well, why is this character acting and not acting like himself? Oh, well, duh. I mean, he's a Skrull. That's why."
Oh, okay. Yeah, makes sense.
Which
But
that's they did in Secret Invasion. They were like, "Oh well, Rhodey's not really acting the way Rhodey normally acts." Well, no, duh, he's a troll. That's why.
well, they got him now. All right, sure. Hmm. Yes, I'll try and finish it. I don't know. Like the series have been kind of iffy after Moon Knight,
Yeah, uh,
personally for me. I don't know.
yeah. No, I'm in agreement. I mean, the thing is, like, Marvel Comics has done this for years. Scrolls. They just when a character is acting like betrays somebody or whatever, or does something that's not consistent with how they've been portrayed up until that point, Marvel just retcons it and goes, "Well, it was a troll the whole time. Why?"
Just bring out Doom. I'm tired of this.
Really?
Just bring out Doctor Doom.
Hopefully, we'll get him in the movie. But anyway, number 4, okay, making Spider-Man Jr.
Yeah. Certain parts I get with let's see. The Iron Spider suit, but that's not the Iron Spider suit, but has AI like the Iron Spider suit kind of should. I don't know. I feel like they should have just waited or just let him use the Iron Spider, build their relationship. Don't make him try to be Iron Man. Let him try and be the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man first, because he's already jumping into world saving missions instead of just trying to save the town. The only like Homecoming was the only one. Then he's like flying off to Mysterio and on a field trip to save Italy or Paris. I can't remember.
Yeah, the couple different cities, I think, Europe.
Yeah, so it's I don't know. But I didn't really, other than that, I didn't really have a problem with Tom Holland's Spider-Man too much.
Yeah.
I feel like he did get a lot of unnecessary hate. He
Oh, he did.
wasn't horrible.
Yeah. I never disliked the dynamic that he had with Tony Stark. Like, I thought their whole like relation. I think what most people this is, and my friend Matt, who's a diehard Spider-Man fan, complains about it all the time. He said, "Dude, where's Uncle Ben?"
How many times are we gonna have to teach that old man that lesson? How many times are we gonna have to have that old man teach us this lesson? We know. It's to me, Uncle Ben doesn't need to be redone
Right.
because it's the same as Martha and what's his name? Thomas getting shot in the alley.
Save Martha.
I don't need to see it anymore. I don't need to see Martha's pearls hit the ground anymore. I get it. I know who Batman is. I
Where
don't
did you
need to see
get that
Uncle Ben
name?
in the street anymore. I get it. With great power comes great responsibility. I get it.
Yeah.
I don't need to see it no more.
Yeah.
I'm good. How many times y'all gonna kill this man? Stop
Uh,
bringing in people to die.
all right. Now we're getting to the top 3. All right. So number 3 is a messy multiverse.
Yeah. Yeah. But then again, it's a multiverse, so they kind of just gave themselves an out with it, to be fair.
Yeah.
If you think about it, they as soon as they open the multiverse, they're like, "Hey, we can do whatever we want now." And then if we mess up and y'all don't like it, well, here we'll do this with this this universe and implement this universe and say this will happen. They have themselves out. It's pretty simple.
Yeah, I mean, people who are saying that like they've totally screwed up the multiverse, I'm like, no, they haven't. I mean, Deadpool and Wolverine are going to tackle the multiverse, and we know that there's a 5th Avengers movie coming, and then there's going to be Avengers Secret Wars, and that's probably going to wrap up the multiverse into a nice, neat bow.
Yeah. Honestly, I didn't even. I feel like Multiverse of Madness gets a lot of unnecessary hate. It's not the greatest Marvel movie, but it's not horrid. It's enjoyable at times to me. Scarlet Witch going ham was hilarious to me. I loved everything she did throughout that entire movie. Everything.
Yeah, man, we got to see why they called it Witch.
Oh yeah, she was decimating people. Oh, and another thing, the Illuminati. People were hating on the Illuminati. It's not your it's a different universe. It's a different multiverse.
Exactly.
You gotta keep up. Keep up. That's why I said they wrote themselves an out. If they mess up, people get mad about something. Well, we'll fix it with this multiverse.
Yeah, like was I upset with how quickly Scarlet Witch, again, spoiler alert if you haven't seen the movie, but was I upset with how easily Scarlet Witch killed Professor X? Well, sure, but at the same time I said, but that's not the same Professor X from like the Fox universe.
Oh no, he dead either way. He would watch. She would wash him regardless. Don't matter what universe. She would wash that man. I promise. I'm not trying to be mean to all my Professor X fans out there. I want the hover chair too, but he's getting washed by Scarlet Witch. I'm sorry.
Um, oh, the next one, yeah, this was a big one for a while. A lot of people hate this. She-Hulk's breaking of the fourth wall.
I think people hated that show just to hate that show because it says it in the show. It's an attorney show. Were you expecting her to like what? You have to expect some degree of what was happening. Like, and I'm not necessarily talking about what happened with her breaking the fourth wall. I'm talking about the overall general hate that it's got,
Yeah.
which is unnecessarily what. Now, what I will say deserves to be hated on are Scar. I hate his design. I will say She-Hulk's design at times was crap. Like the way, like the costume design, the makeup, it just wasn't there a lot of the time. Um, the story would have been okay, but they messed up the intelligentsia, like they said. It you they had a good idea, and it started falling apart, and you could see the wheels start falling off of the ride as you progress through the series.
Yeah.
But overall, I'd give it like a 5, personally, out of 10.
Yeah. And I mean, honestly, like her character in comics, like people forget when she was first introduced, because she was introduced in the comics before Deadpool. And when
Mm.
Deadpool first introduced, because people act like Deadpool was the first character that ever broke the fourth wall. And in fact, he's not. There were characters that preceded him in the comics who broke the fourth wall. And that was only something that, Rob, I always forget his name, Rob,
Yeah,
the right,
I don't know why I want to say Liefeld.
Rob Liefeld, came up with like subsequent appearances of Deadpool, but Deadpool didn't break the fourth wall. Um,
Mhm.
so he's just a character who's done it better than other characters over the years as far as the fourth wall breaking. But they did the whole fourth wall breaking with She-Hulk because that's what they did in the comics originally. Now, obviously, when they got to the finale of the series, it just got ridiculous. It went off the rails. It jumped the shark.
That's and I think they knew that, and they were trying to make it funny by introducing Kevin, quote unquote, and just be like, haha, yeah, we know it's trash, but look at us, we're pointing at it's trash, so therefore you can't call it trash. No, no, we can still call it trash. It's still dog water.
Yeah.
But I don't want to see. Don't let that show come back unless y'all fine tune it. That's my thing.
Yeah, I agree. All right. Last but not least was Kang Ants.
If I am being generous, and God knows I give Marvel so much leniency with their movies because they reinvigorated my love of Marvel. Like everything, the X-Men, like it was the MCU reinvigorating that. I went back and watched all the X-Men movies. So I give them a lot of leniency. I'm going to say that that was a very weak Kang variant that was able to get overhauled by ants because there are variants, and that was just a very, very trash one that talked a lot of crap.
I agree. I don't think we've actually met the Kang the Conqueror yet.
I'm hoping we have it because that was abysmal. And it wasn't even it was Scott Lang. Scott Lang?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll
I would have totally bought it if he would have fought Iron Man or would have fought Thor or even Captain America or Doctor Strange. I would have totally bought it, but not Ant-Man.
That's the problem in itself. If you are trying to establish a new big bad, the villain of this stage you're trying to build, you're aiming to get to this particular character, and he is a bad mofo. You don't let him lose to ants. What were y'all thinking? I don't know. And MODOK, whatever that abysmal thing was, which I never think they're going to get MODOK right. Ant-Man and the Wasp was bad juju. I don't even admit that's a movie. It's in the the deepest corners of my mind that I don't even tread upon anymore. Ant-Man 3, it's over there. Next to Thor: Love and Thunder.
Yes. They didn't happen. They were just a bad dream. Bad dream. They were a failed pitch. A writer came into a meeting. He said, and then this is going to happen. And then Ant-Man's going to beat Kang and everything. And it's like, nope, you're gone.
I kicked him out of the room. Since 17 bottles of liquor. He had to leave.
Yeah, just terrible. Well, hopefully they learn their lesson, and hopefully they will hire an actor to play Kang, because apparently he's coming back eventually. But now that Jonathan Majors is out of the picture, hopefully they will hire an actor who chooses not to take out his frustrations on women.
I don't know. I try to stay out of that one because some say that, some say he didn't. I'm just watching. Because there was this whole discourse online of him just putting her back in the car versus him like forcing her back in the car, and I was just watching the footage and I'm like, well, I don't know. I don't know what he was doing. I don't know how much force was used. I wasn't there. So I'm just going to see how the case ended. And the case ended like well, he did it. Okay.
Yeah. That's fair enough. I mean, none of us there. I mean, this is all secondhand information we're getting. Yeah. Well,
I feel like a lot of times things go to the court of public opinion before they get to the actual courtroom.
Unfortunately, that's very true.
Welcome to the internet. Don't feed the trolls.
All right. Well, Jester, this was obviously a great chat. Not all of it was fun, but most of it was. But
I'm sorry we had to endure it.
I know. We're sorry. We'll keep it lighter next time.
Hopefully, next time we'll be back to our regularly scheduled program, not this dark late night vibe we gave y'all.
So I am Donnie Cage. He is Jigsaw Jester, and on behalf of our colleague, Top Tier Rated, this has been another edition of the UnCaged Boys podcast. Thank you all for listening.
Later, guys.